Hey guys, you want to become a real estate investor? You know it. I know it. What are you waiting on? Well, listen, we're here to help make real estate investing easy for you. We formed a community called Apex on the school platform. You can join this place. It's a great place to network. It's a great place to learn. And guys, ultimately, it's a great place to do deals together. We invite partnerships on this channel. We do real estate deals. We're value add real estate investors. And if you want to become a real estate investor, come and join us on Apex. Every Thursday night, we put on a masterclass about an exciting topic that's going to help you in your real estate investing journey. Listen, for the rest of the month of October, you can join for $79 a month, and you'll lock that price in for the rest of your life, for as long as you stay in the group. But November 1st, the price is going up. So don't miss out. Come and join us. Come and network with us, learn with us, and ultimately, let's be real estate investors together, guys. We want to do deals together. Join Apex. God bless. That's right. Join Apex.
Welcome to the Flip Flop Power Hour.
Episode
45.
Holy cow.
45.
We see BK Breeze is here. Aaron St. John is here. My dog Baxter, the one-eyed Rottweiler, is watching.
He is here.
We are killing it. Everybody, as we start out, we love to beg for the likes. So hit those likes. I know that you diehards have already done that, but if you haven't, go ahead and hit the likes. All right, guys, same format as always, 45 times in a row. We're going to answer your questions. The more questions you have, the better it goes. And yeah, these are fun. I really like this. McKenna, do you have any announcements that you need to make before we get started?
We are doing coffee hour for real tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. I'm going to set up a call in school. So if you want to be a part of that, be on the lookout. There's no agenda. It's just networking. We're going to talk. We're going to drink coffee, see if we can scheme up some business. And that's
awesome.
it.
Are you going to do that through both school communities?
It'll just be Apex.
Just Apex.
And maybe there will be a free version sometime in the future, but I think we test run with Apex, and then we go and see if the flip-flop team also needs some networking. And I have a sneaking suspicion that it's going to be a lot of overlap between who shows up, but I guess we'll see. It looks like I lost Robert and Adon, but if you guys want to start putting questions into the chat here, we're ready to go. You know, we can talk about all things real estate. I had someone ask me what my darkest moment was the other time. I'm probably not going to answer questions like that. But yeah, let's get going. Start putting questions in the chat. I'm trying to think if you guys have had any, trying to give you a prompt, but where are you guys at with making offers? That's my go-to question every week. Have you been making offers? Have you been talking to people about real estate? Have you been telling them that you're looking for properties? Because those are the steps you need to take to get into this business. So if you're hitting roadblocks on that, ask questions about it. If you want to know about our business, ask questions about it. It looks like you guys are back on the show.
We're back on the show. Yeah, we were having some reverberation. I have a question, and it ties into what you just said, and something Jerry Norton said the other night on the masterclass too.
Where did he say that?
On the masterclass.
On Apex?
I don't know. Speaking to the microphone.
If you on Apex, everybody, if you want to know what Jerry said.
Guys, I guarantee you everyone in the chat here is an Apex. I don't think we need to plug it until we get to 20 or 30 people. I think I've got some kind of echo going on my side, maybe, is what you're hearing.
A little while. It's better now, though.
It's all good. It's all good. We fixed it.
So here's my question, McKenna. Jerry talked about making 5 offers a day, and then the offers that you're making today are the deals that you're going to close 6 months from now. We've got a deal in the pipeline that I believe we got to clear to close on today. And so I wanted to follow up with you. Have you spoken to our buyer, Ronnie? Have you spoken to our seller or the wholesaler who's bringing it to us, Scott? And how are we doing on our deal? And guys, this is a perfect example of what Jerry said. We have definitely been working on this deal. It's a probate deal. And I think we've been working on this and had it kind of flipped this entire time for 4 or 5 months now, right?
Yeah, we sold it 4 months ago and have been trying to close this entire time. I have talked to Ronnie. He is ready to go. He's putting in a new application for financing. And our wholesaler, Scott, is also ready to go. He sent the new contracts over to Barry Walker, the title agent. So
Great.
we are looking good, and we're going to make some money on that.
Yeah, that's exciting. So, and I really think it lines up with what the flipping genius himself told us. You know, those deals that you start working on today, you may not close them for 4 or 5 or 6 months, but that's okay. You obviously you're not going to have to work for 6 months to close a deal, but we've been working on this one for a while. We've actually got another one that we've been working on now for several months. Same kind of thing where it's a probate deal. We like to do a lot of probate houses.
Yeah.
We think that the dead people don't negotiate as well. So, but that one, have we made any progress on being able to buy that one, McKenna?
No progress on that one. I need to call them and see where we're at on that. Nisha's asking if this is in Puerto Rico. This is in Orlando, actually. But this is very indicative of Robert and what he's able to do. He flew to Florida for a week. Me and him go and look at a house that his friend brought him. He sells it to his next friend the next day, and then flies back to Puerto Rico. I mean, all of this in 3 days. He had it set up, so it's pretty impressive. Just lands, does a deal, gets out.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
That's what you do, though, guys. You want to have contacts that are buyers. You want to have contacts that are sellers. You want to be talking to everybody. And as many times that you can put yourself in the middle of a real estate deal, as many times as possible, that's good for you. That's what real estate investing 101 is all about. We're wholesaling this deal, and I do not claim to be the greatest wholesaler in the world. I don't buy lists. I don't chase these kind of deals. Generally speaking, we close on like 99% of the deals that we ever go into. We either buy them at the foreclosure sale, or if we go into contract, kind of my claim to fame for 25 years is that we would close. So in this case, we did do what McKenna said, and we've had it sold to a trusted friend and real estate investor that we're going to just make some money in the middle. And that's nice too. So
Yeah.
do we have any questions? Are they starting to?
Well, while they do that, you also landed here and saw 12 foreclosures in one day. So we'll probably see more tomorrow.
Yeah. You know, we say we look at everything, and when you're going to the foreclosure sale, you do a lot of legwork.
How many of those deals would you buy?
None. We looked at 8 or 10 deals today, 12. I don't think we looked at 12, but we looked at a bunch of deals today, and I would say no to every single one of them. Fortunately, in Puerto Rico, I'm going to have 2 more opportunities to say yes. And we took notes on all of them, and some of them will work if it gets to a second auction. And then most of them will work if it gets to a third auction. So we're going to have a chance possibly to buy these things still, but we're doing the work today to maybe 3 or 4 weeks from now, get to a foreclosure sale and have a chance to buy them. And if we go to 10 foreclosure sales, we expect to buy 1. So it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
Yep.
And then speaking of foreclosure sales, Adon, I spoke to a few people last week, 3 of them, that told me they were going to fill out the form to look into partnering with you guys at the foreclosure sale. Have you had a chance to look at them and reach out and see if we
identify yourselves in the chat? And I'm going to put you on blast if you didn't sign up now.
I'll tell you. Let me pull up the calendar. I'll tell you names.
Postmark it.
And then because I'm looking at who's here and listening to us, and most of you guys are in Apex, one of the things that I had as a big takeaway from the other night's masterclass with Jerry Norton, I'm really interested in having our group self-identify as finder, operator, and persons who have money. And so I'm looking for ideas and been talking to McKenna and Adon about how do we get that kind of engagement and sort of give ourselves the title. And I think that I would put myself in each of those 3 categories. So I'm a finder, I'm definitely an operator. And at this point in life now, I'm also someone who has money for other people's deals on occasion. Not all the time, but sometimes. And McKenna's a finder and an operator. Adon's a finder and an operator. We want to build out the community so that it can be most powerful for everyone involved. So if you guys have ideas to that, or if you want to start volunteering how you identify, that's something that I think that's important for our group.
I'll make a Google form and everybody can fill out there. That way we can all share contact.
You know, when you go to like a Rio Rico or if you go to any real estate investors thing, a lot of times they'll have little badges that says Robbie, and then underneath it says I have money, I have deals. I don't know what the third thing is, but
I got 25
is there
years
a way?
of experience.
Is there a way, guys, that we can do that? Can we give badges, McKenna, inside of Apex? It says I have money, I have deals, I have
we
yet.
can't
a
do
contracting
badges,
company,
but we can make different discussion categories. So you can post.
Yep.
And you can post and say, I am this. And then when people search that tag, it'll always be there. We can also make some kind of Google sheet. Aaron, I was speaking to him about this last week, kind of independently. And his idea is to put it all into a database and have an AI generate who you need to talk to. So you tell the AI, hey, I have a deal. Can you give me a couple names of people I need to partner with? And it'll spit out a contractor and a financier guy. We're maybe a bit far away from that, but there's definitely a couple ideas floating around on how we can identify and kind of group people up into these things. And we have our first question here too from Ruben. He understands I need to invest with your team. To invest with your team, I need to join Apex. However, what are the next steps to start investing with you? I'm looking at first quarter 2025, living in Texas near San Antonio.
So listen, if you've got a great deal, we're interested in talking to you about great deals. If you've got money, if you've got a skill set, if you want to come in with us on a deal that we find, or you want to bring us a deal, so we're open to all sorts of partnerships. And even on the island of Puerto Rico, if somebody is in the group wants to run like a oceanfront hotel, we're looking to do those kind of partnerships as well. So we're open to all sorts of different partnerships, and being a part of Apex is not a fast and steady prerequisite. Like we invite partnerships all the time through YouTube, through every community that I'm ever in. I don't think there's really anywhere I go at this point where I don't let people know that I'm a real estate investor and that I expand my business through partnerships. And so if you've got a great deal or you want to jump in on one of our great deals, let's just start having a conversation. This is a great first step too, right? Like asking the question, coming to the Monday Night Live. It is true that people like to do deals with people that they know, like, and trust. And I'm absolutely like that. I mean, anybody that we partner with, we want to make sure first and foremost that we get along and that we have a similar vision. And if we don't have a similar vision, maybe there's still some kinds of ways that we can partnership, but they're less cohesive. I don't know what you would say about that, but
you probably go more towards the loan side of it, where it's much more transactional versus like an equity partnership. You know, you're in for the long ride, and your ups and downs are together. Whereas in a lending relationship, it's very by the contract. You're getting an interest rate, and that's all there is to it, which is great and is an amazing way to invest.
Yep, that's well said. And as a matter of fact, I think one of the next courses that we'll put out in Apex will be how to become a hard money lender.
Yeah,
we were talking about that before we went on air tonight, and what are the next courses that we want to put out there. By the way, if you want to put in a comment here and tell us what are some of the next courses that you want us to put out there. We've got the fix and flip one. We do the Thursday night masterclass every week, but if there's something else that we can put in there that is going to add value, let us know and we'll try to get to it.
Yep.
Obviously, it's taken us longer to get that second.
What's this masterclass about this week?
I think
the DECA guy coming.
Yeah, I think that we're going to have a person from DECA, and I really need to arrange that. And we're going to do a deep dive into Act 60 tourism. But that's not set in stone yet. So
yeah, and that's why we haven't blasted it out there, guys. We like to lock people in before we tell the world what we're doing.
And I could talk about Act 60, but I'd really like to bring on somebody who's like actively getting people tax credits and doing doing the real work, the behind the scenes, and can really give us the nitty gritty about Act 60 tourism.
Yeah.
So
Ruben also just messaged that he is a PI, passive investor. So Ruben, if you're looking to be a passive investor, send us a message on school. You can join the free account, the Flip Flop Flipper, if you're not already in there. I think you are. I think we've messaged before. And we can start that conversation. Pretty much the way we do it, we go deal by deal, where we have a Rolodex of investors, of people that are interested in partnering with us. And when a deal pops up, we kind of just go down the list and see who's available and who's interested. So that's our main way to do it. A lot of people come down to Puerto Rico to check out projects and see what we've got going on. If you guys want to come and get a coffee and check out some projects, again, send us a DM. We are working on an in-person meetup. Hopefully in December, hopefully in November, could be December. So keep your ears out for that as well. And that'll be in San Juan. Not too sure what it's going to look like. It might just be coffee. It might be a bigger weekend type thing. I know there's demand for people want to fly down and see everything. We just got to get it all set up.
Let's ask the question here. Put it in the chat. If we did a bigger event on the island of Puerto Rico, and maybe we did a 2-day or a 3-day event, how many people would be interested in coming, or who's here on the island that would be interested in something like that? We've been a part of a few different mastermind groups where we've done a bus tour around the island, and we've shown different projects that were going on, and then have some educational piece of that. And my idea, guys, if you did fly to the island to come to the Flip Flop Flipper event, is that we probably would want to do like a whole lot of real estate stuff, but also make it experiential. And, maybe we go ride the second longest zip line in the world, or we go charter a sailboat or something like that. But we do something that is going to be memorable and fun, and as well as educational. So who all would be interested in coming to something like that? That obviously takes a little bit more planning for us. And
that would be versus, just a one-night dinner or a one-day, meet at the coffee shop and walk over to a project type thing. So there's different levels of what we could do.
Yeah, the idea is to give you a quick bus tour. We've been on 2-day, 3 days bus tours, and they are very, very tough sometimes. After the second day, you're like, we got to do this 2 more times.
Yeah, that can get painful.
But the idea was, we'll do a quick one in the metro area, show you all the projects going on, so you can ask your questions, see everything hands on, and then from there we'll take you to Rincon and show you just the really, really nice passive life you can have over there.
Yeah.
So it's really, really, we're working on it. We got something going on, and then we're working on monthly coffee meetups and stuff like that for our Apex members and everybody else who wants to join. So
I think the idea of these live meetups, and McKenna in Orlando as well. I mean, so we have people that are in our community from all over, but we certainly have enough people in Orlando to do one, and we have more than enough people on the island here to do one. And I think I said this last week, if there's a few of you in a different area, maybe you plan a meetup and we'll fly to you. I'm not afraid to travel.
You're in Italy, Argentina.
Well, I'm gonna protest about going to Maine in the winter time, unless again Aaron can set up ice fishing or something.
That's true.
But I'm not afraid to travel. I like to get out and see things and go to different parts
I do have
of the
some
world.
news on the Flip Flop Flipper International, and then we'll get back to questions, because I know we've been chatting a bit here, guys. I think that next week on the live, and I haven't spoken to you guys about this, I've been speaking to a contractor in London, and I'd like to either bring him on off air for an interview or bring him onto the live and just talk about what's it like flipping properties international in the UK. How does it differ from Puerto Rico? How does it differ from the States? And that conversation's been going well. So I think we're going to get him on the show here. So that'll be exciting.
Yeah, that's cool. So you're talking about next Monday night, we could have him come in and talk to us.
Yeah, awesome. And just a quick 15-minute segment type thing.
Yeah.
Or if it doesn't work, because right now I think it's midnight over there, maybe we do a pre-recorded segment. Noel we're going back to the foreclosure hunting. Why was it a no today on the hunting trip? What was wrong with the properties? Why didn't you like them?
They were overpriced.
Yeah.
them.
Everything was overpriced.
And that's after, and I put a list of like, just for Carolina, about 8 properties. And I looked through 50, like 2 pages of edictos en subasta.
Yeah.
And just those 8 were the
Well,
the nicest neighborhoods that you can get into, but it's just overpriced.
Yeah, what we were just saying is that what the bank is owed at the first auction was just too much money for it to make sense for us. So we took notes, and several of them, if they get to the second auction, would start to work. And almost all of them, if they got to the third auction, so half price, then they would definitely work. We were in one really nice gated community that the house was like $400,000, and we thought it was worth $500,000. And I told Adon as we kind of talked our way into the community, but they didn't want us to drive through, that if it was at the second auction, we would just blast through there and we'd go see the house. But since it was the first auction, we were polite. We did the U-turn and we left. So
and look, another one was we saw one side by side. They're asking 150, and there's a for sale sign on the one next to it. That's exactly the same house. We called it. The house is only worth 140.
The house the house is under contract for 140, so that sets the market. We know that a retail buyer is going to buy it at 140, so obviously 150 doesn't work. And even if it gets to 100, and it was a pretty nice house, it won't work. But if it gets to 75, it works. So that's the third auction.
Yes.
And now you guys know that forever. You take your notes, you have it in your spreadsheet. You might need to go back as a reminder of what you saw, but you know that. And as it comes in future auctions, and as you see the properties and you see the neighborhoods, you've added that to your memory.
I will tell you that because of today's action and going and looking at these houses, we're looking for a volunteer, someone to come in, and we could figure out a way to have you have participation in this foreclosure sale business. But we need someone who can call after the sale every day and find out if the property went to auction or is going on to the next auction. So for instance, if a sale is happening tomorrow and it's the first sale and we don't want to go try to bid on it until it gets to the third sale, we need someone to call and find out, did it sell at the first auction? Is it going to the second auction? And then did it sell at the second auction? And is it going to the third auction? So that we can keep that and we can track that stuff on our spreadsheet. So if there's someone out there who wants to volunteer for that, these calls, they're not going to be difficult, but they could be time consuming. Don tried the other day and sat on the line for like 45 minutes to get to a guy who wouldn't give him the information. And so that was disappointing. But we're looking for someone who wants to help out. And this is an easy way to come in and help out and start to get to know us, and we get to know you. So if there's anybody who's interested in that, let us know.
The only requirement is you speak Spanish, or have Google Translate next year where you can hit the little speaker.
I think you better be bilingual.
You better
speak Spanish.
No, you have ChatGPT now. Like, hey, translate this to Spanish. Just put it next to the phone.
I'm sure there is a software out there where you can speak in English and it speaks in Spanish for you right away. But
yes,
I bought those. Remember, you don't remember a few years ago? I gave them to you guys for Christmas, McKenna.
Yeah, a little box.
I got you and Elizabeth and Mom and one. No one ever used it one time.
No. Well, Google Translate does it too, but. Aaron's asking, would anyone be interested in mini classes by members? I would be interested, Aaron. I think
I'm interested, Aaron, for sure. Yeah.
But let us know in the chat here, guys.
About ice fishing.
Yeah, about ice fishing. Maybe some Airbnbs in Maine. But I think that's a great way too to, add more meshing of the community. The whole purpose of this, guys, I know I say it every week, but the networking is so important, because then you're talking about real estate, you're doing real estate, you're thinking about deals. So the more areas we can connect, that's how things get done. You would be shocked by the amount of calls me, Robert, and Don have to make this call every Monday happen. We just sit on the phone getting stuff set up. And for real estate, it's way more than that. So that's where all of this starts. If you're wondering how it happens, it's through networking and things like this, and classes that Aaron puts on and whatever it is.
And hey, Aaron, I have two things for you. One, I need you to get a light for your pickup truck so that when you call in to the Thursday night class,
We can see your
we
face.
can see your face and you're not in the dark, because I know it gets dark early there in Maine. And then number two, did I read in a recent post of yours that the boarding house deal has gone away, and that's a bummer, or is that still alive? So let me know.
And I got a third one.
You got a third one.
Well, we were talking about his land that he wanted to build on, but didn't know how to do it, like through an HOA or something like that, so he keeps control.
Yeah.
Why doesn't he just land lease out the subunits, and that way it's just one place, but they're land leased into like
a mobile home park.
I don't know how that works, but
That's
that's
a
what I've
land
been
lease.
reading, something
Yeah.
like that. So you land lease it, you still own the place, but they got to keep it. It has to be to standard. Something
Yeah,
like
Aaron, that's not a bad idea. We do that land lease, and it works awesome in a trailer park that we have here on the island. And so every month they pay us a lease to basically have their fifth wheel trailer there, and
Yeah.
it's steady cash flow. It's really, really nice.
Yeah.
So maybe that's an option.
Yeah,
He
you
says
built
his
it out
boarding
and then
house
you rent
deal is still alive.
Good. Okay, so McKenna, I don't know if you've talked to him about the boarding house deal, but I'm interested in the boarding house deal. He could potentially buy it very well, and it sounds like something that is a year-round revenue source. So I don't know how we would put that together, if we can directly participate, or if we encourage other people in the community to participate with him. But it really sounded like a phenomenal deal. Of course, Aaron got really excited, so I got really excited. And guys, I don't know if you know this about me, but I see deals everywhere. So I have a hard time not jumping in with both feet every time the next shiny object comes. So it's something that I have a whole team that trying to pulls the reins back on me, because I really do. I like to put deals together, and it's just a lot of fun for me. And I see this boarding house play that Aaron and I talked briefly about on the phone the other day as something that sounded really, really terrific.
Well, and I think too, it's just about creating structures and organization to facilitate the deals you're trying to do, and that we're working on it every day. We're figuring out how to grow it bigger, do more, be more. So
your mother says I have no work-life balance, and I'm like, let's go to Maine.
It's a work trip.
It's a work trip.
She just doesn't understand. You're still halfway through your 90-year grind to financial freedom.
That's right.
Oh my God.
Think of the wealth we can create when, now that we're all going to live to 160.
Yeah,
Man, we're gonna create some generational wealth.
it's going to be good. Compound interest over that amount of time. All right, Hector Rodriguez, hard money lending course would be helpful. So he's in. We've got a bunch of people that are in for an in-person weekend. And a thought that I had on that too, guys, when we're talking about a coffee meetup versus a one-night dinner versus a weekend trip, there are different costs to that, so just keep that in mind as well when you're saying you're signing up for the premium tour. But we just need to figure that out versus,
$5,000 a day.
Well, maybe not that much, but
Yeah,
Otto's in, Noel's in.
So clearly the vision is that we need to be doing meetups, and
Yes.
I like that. I like meetups. These meetups that we do virtually here every Monday are a lot of fun, but it's even better if we meet in person. So, all right, we're already planning to do the coffee stuff live in Puerto Rico. Maybe McKenna, we can do something in Orlando for sure, and then we'll set up a dinner or a weekend thing on the island. Yep. Okay.
We'll keep working on that, guys.
I've been invited to be a part of something on the island of Puerto Rico through the Red Atlas guys, which is
that happening? Did you get that email?
I got an email saying that's happening.
Nice.
I'm on the board of
planning committee.
The planning committee. So there's an event that's going to happen in first quarter of next year that we're going to help plan and speak at. Maybe we can do something tied around that as well.
Yeah,
that's somebody else's event, but
yeah, everybody can come see you speak, and then we'll steal our crowd and go look at real estate while the event goes on, or they can stay, whatever it is.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah,
that way somebody else plans
before we get
most
to the
of the
next
event.
question, hit that like button. Sorry to interrupt you. Hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and on to the next. Can you talk to us about the big things coming into Puerto Rico and the areas around those that we should be investing in deals in those
Let's talk
areas
about
now?
Today's meeting.
Yes, there's something that I've seen that I think is extremely exciting, and it's called Act 182, and it is going to allow people like us to invest in long-term rental properties or even long-term housing for people. So you could build ground up and then sell off real estate to people who are going to be homeowners who are going to live in it for the long term. But it could be a rental play or a sale play, 7 units or more in the urban areas. So we're trying to drill down on where these areas actually are. We heard some kind of disappointing news today in a meeting. We met with the lawyers who kind of did the article out there about Act 182. And right now it looks like in San Juan, the only areas that are identified, and I hope this isn't true because it would really be a shame, but the only areas that are identified by the government are Old San Juan and Puerta de Tierra, which that
doesn't work.
That's sort of a disaster if that's true. I don't know why that would be true, but we're trying to chase that down to see why Santurce wouldn't be a part of it, why Rio Piedras wouldn't be a part of it. I mean, there's so many other areas that need this revitalization. It would be a shame if they limit it to Old San Juan that really doesn't need it, and Puerto de Tierra that's already going through this massive renovation. But you know what? Governments are stupid, so they do stupid things.
And it's very new, so a lot of this stuff might be changing in the next couple months before we know it.
Yeah.
So hopefully they include Rio Piedras, which desperately needs it.
Yeah.
Santurce and all that stuff.
I really hope that they expand it to more because there's so much need for housing. So anyways, that guys is something that even if you have to invest in that way in the smaller municipalities in the urban areas, this is just a phenomenal way to invest. And you can invest in a tried and proven long-term rentals is what we're going to look at, probably renovating vacant, distressed, maybe mixed use commercial buildings and turning them into 7, 15 or 20 unit apartment buildings.
And you can flip these as well, right?
You
don't have to keep them.
You don't have to keep them. Yep. You could buy a building and condo it, get 40% tax credits and sell off all the condos. You can do, as long as it's housing, long-term housing.
How many flips you think you can do in a year before the thing ends?
I mean, and that's the other thing that we learned today. So there's a very short window. Like these projects started in July, and then you have until December of next year to get your application in. So you have to identify your project before December of next year. That's an incredibly short window for something like this, and hopefully that will get extended because again, there's just such a need for it on the island. So it's a really good idea. It's the right way to go, and we just need the government to broaden it a little bit.
And groups like this are powerful in getting those types of things to stick. If all of us go and buy a 10-unit apartment building and use the act and prove that it works, and suddenly there's 30 examples of success, that's the kind of stuff that gets the government to keep doing it. If no one uses it and there's no success, they won't care.
Yeah.
So
that's true. So, and then back to that question, I think the whole island of Puerto Rico is kind of a good deal right now. So we've been saying this for the last few years that as an investor, I'm more interested in investing more of my own dollars in the island of Puerto Rico than I am anywhere else right now in the country. So I'm still doing deals with McKenna in Florida, but they're half as good, right? Like, I mean, the ceiling on the stuff that we can do in the States, a good deal is 20-25%. And if we do a similar deal on the island of Puerto Rico and we mess it up, we're expecting to make 35 or 40%. So kind of the floor is higher than the ceiling. And plus our money goes twice as far here, even today. So I think the whole island is sort of a great place to invest, and wherever you choose to go and look for deals, you'll find it.
Yeah, I agree. I think if I was moving to Puerto Rico, where would I want to do my first deal? Probably not in the mountains. That's my one thing. I like being in cities with population. It's a little bit quicker. Maybe near a beach. But other than that,
I like that
there's so
if
much
you're coming
opportunity.
to just do a deal, a one-off deal, the metro area, that's
Yeah.
where most people live. That's where most people work. That's where there's the biggest need for housing. So to come here and do a flip that's a median income type flip, you can buy something for 100 grand, fix it up for 50 and sell it for 250, or buy something for 70, fix it up for 30 and sell it for 150. Those kind of deals are all around the metro area. And if you have ties to other areas, you can find those same deals, probably even better, right? Like, so the further you get from the metro area, the better the spread will get, but the kind of less eyeballs that you'll have on it when you're done. But
Yep.
still, I think they work. We moved to Kamoy so that we can be closer to the west side of the island. And one of the reasons is because we want to put our eyes on another part of the island that we really haven't been able to look at for the last couple of years.
What is the difference between the first and second and third auction?
Okay, so going back to the foreclosure sale in Puerto Rico, the first auction is what the bank is owed. So the bank is owed $100,000. At the first auction, the bank is going to open the bid at $100,000. The second auction is 2/3 of what the bank is owed. So again, the $100,000 in the second auction would become $66,000. And then the third auction is half. So the $100,000 would become $50,000. That's the difference. And these auctions 1, 2, and 3, it's if the first auction is today, the second auction will be next Monday, and the third auction will be the next Monday after that. The bank always has the option to bid back up to what they're owed. So it doesn't automatically mean that that's what the bank is going to take. It just tells you where the auction is going to open.
Yes.
Is that right?
See.
Is that good enough? All right.
You hit it on the head.
All right.
And guys, don't record inside of these proceedings or else you'll be banned.
I don't know if I agree. I mean, if you tell people that you're recording and they do nothing about it, even if you only say it in your mind.
Just exactly. Just remember, you got to say it out loud, not in here.
Semantics.
Hey, I think they're in a public
potato.
space. In a public space, I think you're protected by the Constitution, and you can go to court over it.
That
But
only
if you
works
want
in
to be
America.
productive and continue to go to the auctions, you probably
we don't
don't
want to fight. We don't want to fight with the people who are putting on the auction. So I'm not going to be filming anymore in the auction.
You got to get one of those auditors in there, a constitutional auditor. They'll go in, cause a fuss, create a lawsuit. It'll be great.
Yep.
Alan's asking, what about areas outside of San Juan? Anywhere you recommend looking?
So we're concentrating in Dorado. Where else? Are we talking about the west? So Dorado, Vega Baja, Atillo, Quebradilla, Camuy.
Yeah, so I like the
Aguadilla.
North Coast. We like the North
everything
Coast.
on the North Coast.
Everything on the North Coast. And actually, I would say probably we've had a lot of success going from as far east as like Ceiba and as far west as Rincon. So that's the whole entire North Coast, and kind of going down a little bit. Where we haven't invested much is the East Coast to the south. And that doesn't mean that there aren't great deals there. We just haven't done a lot of it.
There's a lot of great deals in Ponce. I see them all the time. It's just, I don't want to drive 2 hours every day.
Kimberly Jackson, who's a part of Apex, she invests in Ponce. She loves Ponce.
Yeah.
She's done really well down there. I really believe there are great deals in every city. You just have to look for them.
Yeah.
I like to be, when you're starting out, in the most populated places, which to me would mean that you'd either do it in the metro area here, or you'd probably go to Ponce because it's the second most.
What I've been doing is looking at the list of like where this Act 82 is supposed to be working.
Yeah.
Try to comparing the maps when I'm doing my research to make sure like, hey, it falls in there. Let's do that.
Well, I think that's going to change the way we look at real estate, right? Like, so for the last 2 or 3 years, if there was a vacant, distressed building that I could turn into 7 units or more, we looked at it through the lens of let's make it a small hotel
or a guest house. Yeah.
A guest house or a small hotel. Now, because I prefer to invest in long-term rentals, because I think that it meets a bigger need, because I think it's a more stable income. It meets a bigger need. It's just kind of better for the island. We're going to automatically sort of start to look at it for that long-term rent. It's significantly less hard to manage a long-term rental apartment building that's 7 to 10 units than it is to manage a hotel.
And would you always keep them? Or try?
I like keeping them. I mean, listen, you're going to get 40% tax credits back. So that's basically doing a flip anyways. You buy it for X and then you improve it and you get 40% of X plus improvements. 40% is what, if we were flipping it, we're making 40%
Plus,
now what you're getting at is that we can get the 40% tax credits and then also flip it. And that's pretty exciting too.
yeah,
Sure.
and you get 4% corporate tax. Go ahead.
Clarification on his question. He's talking about Act 182. Did they say anything about areas other than San Juan, or do you think it'll just be that small area?
No, it's each municipality should have a zone.
Yeah.
Okay.
So each municipality should put out a map, and I don't know that they're out there yet, but there will be an area where you can invest in that area. So
yeah, there's a problem with the maps. We had a set of maps, and then the lawyer where we met this morning had a different set of maps, which is very typical for here on the island. So we're trying to clear up which is the one we should be looking at to make sure this is what.
And their map was smaller than our map, so
way smaller.
Probably, I mean, just my knowledge of how the government works, it's probably going to be the smallest map. It's probably going to, not be as expansive as it should be, which is a shame, but oh well.
And then any updates about adding Red Atlas to Apex?
We got an email on that?
I don't know. You have to send me the emails.
I got an email about so Red Atlas is going to put on this event that we're going to speak at, and I've been asked to be a part of that. I'll have to look at the email and see what it said. I did. I already forwarded it to you. You don't ever look at your emails.
I don't ever look at my emails. You never
look at your emails. Yeah.
I'll look right now.
Yeah.
They should have DM'd you on School, because that's where you reply.
See? That's correct. I do try to reply to anyone who DMs me on School. But the Red Atlas thing is definitely coming. We had lunch with Henry last week, and we believe we've got a deal in principle, and we're going to get Red Atlas to be a part of the offering inside of Apex. So coming soon.
It'll be free for members, or it'll be an upcharge?
No, I think that we're going to pay for it, but we'll just make it be part of the offering.
That's awesome.
Kind of like Go High Level is for us in another community.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Working
I'm
on
excited to see how that works. Drew asked, why do you think the deals are so much better in Puerto Rico than the mainland?
There's less competition. I mean, that's the easy answer, Drew. We go to the foreclosure sale in Puerto Rico. It's done. I'm sorry. We go to the foreclosure sale on the, geez, Louise. If we go to the foreclosure sale in the States, say in Orlando or anywhere around there, it's done online. It's opened up to the world. There are hundreds of people that are looking at that and bidding on all of those properties. If we go to an auction for the foreclosure sale, for instance, on the island of Puerto Rico, maybe there's 5 or 10 people in the room.
Depends.
And 1 or 2 of them are really the ones that are there to bid on it.
Yeah.
So the competition level is way lower on the island.
Yeah.
The need for capital is way higher on the island. So it sets itself up for real estate investors to do really well. There's a big arbitrage because data is difficult and the MLS system is horrible. I mean, there's all kinds of things that are in play that make it significantly harder to buy and find things here on the island in some instances, but also because of that, you get significantly better deals when you do the work and you find the stuff. So hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah.
I think you could say it another way. The island of Puerto Rico was in a 10-year recession up until Hurricane Maria. And so we've only come out of that and had a positive GDP and a positive inflow of people moving to the island has only just happened over like the last few years. Whereas in the States, we've gone through this massive long period of time where things have generally been good since about 2015 or so, all the way to now. We've had almost a decade of good times in the States. And we've only had a fraction of that on the island of Puerto Rico.
For me, I think it's the data. I think the island just makes it really difficult to be efficient with finding deals, doing deals, and because of that, less people do it. And
dude, you gotta go through
people don't want to put in the work.
You gotta go through 4 or 5 different websites to get one answer on anything, and usually the answer's wrong. So you go drive the place and you're like, oh, there's a for sale sign. It says it's worth 450,000. Let's call the sign. It's worth 140. Oh, okay. This is wrong. Let's keep going. You know, so
it's a lot more manual work.
Yeah.
I think Jerry said it, like, you got to get greasy. You got to roll your sleeves up and you've got to do the work out on the streets, knocking on doors, where it's really simple and easy. But because it's really simple and easy in the States, everyone and their brother does it. Yeah. Right. I mean, that's the thing. So, and I've always liked to be in a place where it's the very most difficult. That's where, as real estate investors, we've always found the best deals. So whatever's the hardest place that you can buy, and if you can figure out how to consistently do it, you're gonna make a bunch of money. So,
and then our next question: when you create a small hotel, how do you go about the management? Employees, the system? Do you outsource it? How do you do it?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, so we went heavy into this hotel stuff or guest house business model. Our idea was like 7 units to 25. We wanted to fit this guest house model. And the reason that we liked to fit in this guest house model is because we could find an operator and put them in place and let them kind of have autonomy. So they would hire the people who do the cleaning. They would hire the front desk people, and we would just manage the management. And so that is how we've done it. And it's worked well for us over the years now on a handful of these types of investments. But we like to develop the property. What we're good at is finding and fixing. So getting it ready to run. And then we want to partner with someone who's going to actually be doing the day-to-day. And it's not Robbie. It has been Adon at times. It's not hopefully not going to be Dave, my partner, or Linda, my wife, but we can find somebody who goes and lives nearby the property and is at the property every day. And then we just have a weekly meeting and kind of guide them and talk about, where are we advertising? What are we getting the biggest returns on? How are the reviews? What do the bookings look like? But that's what's worked for us, is finding a person who can go, and you give them autonomy. You let them kind of take ownership of the property and reward them for doing well.
The hiring process is really easy. Just go something like this. Hey, my manager just left. Do you want the job? Yes, I'm in the car. I guess I'll take the job.
That worked out well.
Drop me off and look at you. I'm starting now.
Yeah.
Yeah, the trick there is getting the manager in the car in the first place. How do you get the right people?
Yeah. Just bait him in for a year.
And we've had pretty good luck with it. I mean, even we're talking about the Surfing Turtle, and there was a guy who was running it. And for 2.5 years, he was great. And on Monday of the week that he was no longer great, he was still great. It was just that Thursday, he unexpectedly had to leave the island, and we needed somebody else there the next day. And Adon got the job. And Adon did a great job for what, 7-8 months?
A year.
A year?
Yeah.
So
there.
Ruben just said he's joining Apex now, which
that's what's up.
Nice, Ruben. Let's go. All right.
And I had another point too that I forgot to announce. The price is going up for Apex on the 1st, up to $97. So if you're not already in and you want to lock in the current price, join right now. And that's all I'll say about that. Misha says it's harder to get the money in Puerto Rico. Very true. I think that's the lack of financing from banks trickles into the whole economy. People that are scrappy, you can go get a loan, but it's tough. It is tough.
Liquidity is tough on the island. Hard money, there's really not even the national hard money lenders that will lend anywhere in the country generally don't come to Puerto Rico. So you're talking about way less money, even from the private people. The banks don't lend on distressed assets pretty much anywhere, right? Like, so you can't go to Bank of America and buy a building in downtown Orlando that's got no doors and windows and has no revenues, and you know, you need to buy it for $1 million and put $1 million in it. The banks will really never lend on that stuff. Certainly on the island of Puerto Rico, they're not lending on it. But even once you've renovated it on the island, it's difficult to get the bank to bring the money in. So we're just starting to see things like DSCR loans come to the island, and that's exciting. If that can kind of finally get its foothold here, that'll open up a lot of locked up equity and get some people some cash back to do some more investing. That'll be amazing.
All right. Guys, ask our final questions here. We're running out of time. We're almost done. I can't believe it's been an hour already. That's been surprisingly quick. Let us know what you want to talk about, if there's any last thoughts. And yeah, we'll go from there. What were you saying, Adon?
I forgot.
Well,
you cut me off and I'm like, what?
What is the average hard money lending rate in Puerto Rico?
15% plus a handful of points.
It is very expensive.
It's
a
really
handful
expensive.
And a finger.
You know, guys, it is really expensive. So if you're spending 5 or 6 points and some admin fees and 15%, that is absolutely the definition of hard money. But I'm going to tell you that when I started out and I was borrowing hard money back in 1998, I think I was paying 4 or 5 points and 16% interest for hard money loans back then in Florida. And so while it sounds awful now, and it is, because interest rates have gotten so low and hard money rates kind of fell as interest rates fell, now that interest rates have started to come back up, and they've gone way up from the all-time lows, it's not so bad anymore. And yeah, so, but it's expensive. Hard money is expensive money, and it's significantly more expensive on the island of Puerto Rico than it is in the States.
Yeah. And that's another
But even
thing
in the States,
guys,
hasn't hard money gone to 14% and 2 points, McKenna?
I think it has for, you know, entry level, your first time doing it. They're charging you a bit more, and then you can still work your way back down to 12. There's enough people lending it there if you have experience. But yeah, even your first time, I think depending on who you're talking to, you can still get the cheaper rates, especially if you have a partner or an amazing deal, whatever it is. If you have something that makes you stand out from somebody that doesn't know what they're doing, you can still get those good rates. Next question. Did Rob play in the NBA?
No, Robbie never played in the NBA. I played basketball. It was one of the great joys of my life. I got to play all over the world, but never in the NBA. Those guys in the NBA, I'm not sure they're human. They are way better than I ever was. The highest I ever played in the States was a league no one's ever heard of called the USBL, the Tampa Bay Sharks. And I was with that team for like 2 weeks. And probably the best basketball I ever played was in the second Bundesliga in Germany. And that was a very short-lived thing as well. So I played professionally in Denmark, which that was a lot of fun. Probably wasn't great basketball, but I got to be a professional athlete. So I didn't really care. You could have, if a company wanted me to play for the YMCA team and they were willing to pay for me, I was going to be a professional athlete. So that was good for me. And McKenna was with me. We flew to Denmark to play. First I got a job in Germany. That team went bankrupt. So then we went to Denmark. McKenna was 1 month old when we flew to Denmark. And so there was a time in his life where he had lived more in Denmark than he had lived in the States. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. We had 2 babies. We were living in Denmark with a bus ticket and fighting the cold. And I loved every second of it. McKenna's mom hated it, but it was worth it. So
it sounds fun.
I was glad. I was grateful that I was able to do it.
There you go. It matters.
I love it. I was in the circus, and
You-
I miss that just like you miss basketball. I think it's incredible being a part of an organization like that. And the
See, guys, you could be a professional athlete or part of the circus
You
or
know
even a
what's funny, and I
photographer
don't know,
and be a
McKenna, if
real
you have
estate
these,
investor.
but I have dreams sometimes where I'm playing basketball again and I'm able to jump and stuff. And I wake up and I'm just like, God, I miss that.
Hey, you could still jump if you start going to CrossFit, man. You could be
You think
dunking.
I'd be able to jump again?
Yeah, man. There's the knees
Got
over
to blow
toes
out his
guy.
knees.
He just had double knee replacement surgery, and he's dunking the basketball. You'll be fine.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's incredible. You just
All right.
follow his workout plan for a year, and I bet you can do it again.
Okay. All right. Do we have another question?
Yeah, you got to read them out. The screen's really far.
Yep. If you buy a seller finance deal, once both parties have made a deal, does the title/deal go to the buyer, or does it get transferred when the money has been completely paid? So there's two ways to do it, Pip. I'll let you go into it.
No, you're right. There's two ways to do it, right? Like, so you can do this kind of lease with an option to purchase, and that's a very common way to do seller financing. Or, and I'll just do it from my perspective as a seller, and I am a seller who likes to sell with seller financing quite often. If you want to come to the table with a small amount of money, then we're going to do it as a lease option, and I'm happy to do that deal with people. If you want to come to the table with a third of the purchase price or more, then I will transfer title to you. But I'm not going to transfer title to someone who says, "Hey, I want to buy it from you, and I've got $2,000 to put down, and I'll start making $1,000 a month payment." That won't work for me. But I would do something close to that where we do it as a lease option. So I think the answer is both ways, and it really is how you negotiate your deal. And McKenna, you can answer this because you're doing seller finance deals, and you're actually doing seller finance deals where you are coming to the table with a low amount of money and getting it transferred into your name.
It's
So
obviously
it's certainly
preferable.
possible.
As the buyer, you want it in your name, and as the seller, you want it in your name. That's just the natural flow of things. But it's absolutely possible. I'm bringing $5,000. It's going to be transferred into my company's name. They're taking a traditional first position mortgage on it. So it's certainly possible if you have the right relationships and you're out there, looking for deals, hustling, talking to people. That's how you find these opportunities, and they're out there. Is Apex School still scheduled for Wednesday? Halloween is on Thursday. Yes, it is still going to be this Wednesday. Same time, just on Wednesday.
Yeah, so 6 o'clock Wednesday night, 6 to 8, for sure. And McKenna, you're also doing a deal with me where you gave me no money, and so we've done a lease option.
Are you talking about the house I live in?
Yeah, and I'm not even sure you've paid rent yet. So,
guys, I'm his worst tenant.
Mom says you need to pay rent.
I moved in, no down payment, no rent paid. And he hasn't evicted me yet.
Then he said, "Hey, can you buy me a stove, a refrigerator?"
If you have a kid, now they can't kick you out.
Dude, I don't think that's how it works in Florida. I think if he called the police on me, they'd kick me out in a second. I've got no lease, no nothing.
Oh yeah, Florida's like the landlord's dream. Like, you can literally call the police and say this is a squatter, and they will come and throw them out. Now, if you do that, and they sue you and say, "Hey, I had a lease," you can get in trouble. But this is no nonsense. If you try and squat in Florida, you get kicked out.
I'm sure you find that lease, McKenna.
I had a squatter the week after, or the day after the hurricane. A guy was trying to break in. He had a suitcase and a couple bags packed, and the neighbor saw him, called the police. They were there in 4 minutes, and they were ready to arrest this guy. And
Which house?
Over on Keystone by Boone High School. And
oh wow,
yeah, the neighbors stopped him. They saw him trying to get in a window. Said, "Hey, what are you doing?" He had a fake lease that he got off of Craigslist. He said that he rented it for $500. So maybe he was scammed. Maybe he was a squatter. Who knows? But the police were no nonsense. They were there and ready to stop him immediately.
What did the what were the instructions here? Send the 500 to the PayPal account, and when you get there, the left window, you go in through there. That's your entryway.
Yeah, I sent them the money. They sent me a text that says you're the tenant. You can go there.
Wow.
It's like, geez, okay. So that was pretty ridiculous. How
We got
old were
time
you
for one or
guys?
two more questions, guys, if you've got them. Otherwise, we'll wrap it up. Do we have another question there?
Yeah, we've got a few. How old were you guys individually when you started investing in real estate?
19.
You were 19.
Yeah.
I was 27, I think.
I was 19 as well. I bought a foreclosure while I was in college at FSU. Adon, what'd you buy?
I bought an apartment in Orlando where I lived in while I was studying, and then once I finished studying, I rented out for the next, I don't know, 10 years.
Yeah. I got a late start because I was off chasing the basketball dreams.
Yeah. Well,
It's gonna be a great documentary one day.
I bought a house, made some money. I was like, I'm going to do this all the time. Then I joined the circus. Said, I'm never doing that again.
See, look, you're destined to be a real estate investor when you buy your first property and then say, this is going great, but you know what would be better? Something completely different.
I can remember after we bought that first house, you're like, yeah, we can do a couple of semester. I was like, great, let's do a couple of semester. And then you never called again. Not one time. That was freshman year. And then 3 more years of college, and you never. And I think one time I asked and you're like, nah, I haven't been looking.
No, I'm too busy. But yeah, and honestly, you can start anytime. I don't. Obviously, it's great to start young, but maybe there's
it's about being consistent.
For those of you that are starting young, you have such a huge advantage, right? Like, so
we met the guy today.
We hung out with a young man today. He's 23, and he's got a great mind for doing this. And yeah, if he can start at 23 and this, I just read The Compounding Effect.
You read the whole thing already? I
read it on 2 times speed. Yeah, it's pretty good. He could be a multimillionaire if he just, buys a house a year for the next 5 or 10 years and then never does anything else again. He'll still be a multimillionaire because that's how powerful real estate can be. So, yeah.
Do seller financing deal interest rates follow the 30-year mortgage interest rate? No, they do not. I mean, some sellers will kind of be aware of what the market is doing. But it's all negotiation, and it depends on the deal, what you're buying, how much it's worth, what are you paying, and you can kind of back into the interest rate that way, or you can just negotiate yourself a phenomenal interest rate or a really high interest rate. It goes both ways.
And then as a seller, again, I sell a lot with seller financing. I like to tell people, look, I'm not the bank, and I don't really want to be the bank, so I want to set the interest rate higher than the bank's rate is, so that one day the person who's buying from me will have a motivation to refinance me out. Is that hard and fast? Like, that's not hard and fast. We've done everything from low interest rate to high interest rate, but just that's my mindset. If I'm making a really, really big pile of money on the deal that I'm seller financing, then I could do a lower interest rate. But generally speaking, as a person who does some seller financing, I want to be slightly above what the bank rate is.
Yeah. My son,
and when I'm buying, I want to get the best deal I can, right? So when I'm borrowing money, I want it to be the lowest. When I'm selling money, I want it to be as high as possible.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, it's just a negotiation, and those are what you're battling over. So you just gotta know and go for it. My son is the worst tenant also. I know how you feel, Robert.
I have a high confidence that McKenna will pay.
Yeah. Thanksgiving's going to be real awkward.
Yeah. What's the next question here?
What's better, a seller finance deal on an LLC or personal name? Pros and cons. You should, if it's an investment property you're not going to live in, you should do it in an LLC every time. It doesn't matter what the deal is, just because it adds additional protection for you from lawsuits and everything, and they cost $100 to set up and take 10 minutes. So it's absolutely
I think
worth doing the LLC.
It becomes even more important if you're going to do it more than once, right? Like, so if you're going to do it one time and you're going to live in it, fine, do it in your own name, no big deal. Even if you're going to do it one time and you're going to be a landlord, that's fine. Don't worry about setting up the LLC. But if you think it's something you're going to do over and over again, protect yourself, set up an LLC. And I would even go so far as to say, do a few deals, maybe 3, 5, 10 deals in that one LLC, and then set up another LLC and do the next 3, 5, or 10 deals in the new LLC.
Guys, and they're really quick to set up. Look, and
we set one up today.
Yeah, in a car ride, I was setting one up in the background, just real quick. Got the IN number, set up the thing, and now we're ready to roll. So it's not that hard, at least here in PR, and I imagine in Florida it's not either. Yeah, so
Florida, it's online. It takes 10 minutes to fill out the form. They processed it. It's taken them 3 days right now to process. But other than that, it's very
the EIN
easy.
Though. Make sure you're getting it from the IRS government website. Make sure there's other websites out there that will fool you. You don't have to pay for it.
Were they trying to charge you or something?
I noticed I was in the wrong place. I'm looking at this. I'm like, they never asked me this before. What is this? So I'm like, I noticed I was on the wrong side. So just putting it out there.
Do we have a couple
All
more
right, guys.
questions?
Last questions before we head out. What do you guys think about the quote, "You'll own nothing and be happy for the future"?
That will not make me happy.
Yeah, if you live under the bridge, you'll be great.
I wonder what do most people think of that? It's a scary, scary quote for me. You'll own nothing and be happy. Sounds an awful lot like communism, and a whole bunch of people are going to die. I don't like that quote. I don't like it one bit.
I think it's when you hear those quotes, it's like ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
If you
want to own nothing and that will make you happy, and you self-choose to do that, fine, go for it. I can completely support that. And but no, do I want the government to tell me that I'm going to own nothing and be happy?
No.
At the point that that's going to be a reality, I'm ready to exit stage left, and I'll be looking for a landing spot. It's a small world, and so we'll just have to get out of Dodge if that's going to be true.
We'll go to Argentina or somewhere. And my personal plan, actually, it's sort of similar to this quote, but it's make a lot of money in real estate, have a lot of equity, reach a certain dollar amount, sell it all, own nothing, because then I don't have to manage anything. There's a lot of stress that goes away
when you become a bank
owner. But the caveat to that is I've made enough money to support myself for the rest of my life and my family and my kids and my future. So it's there's a pretty big asterisk there compared to the government.
And again, you're self-choosing that, right? Like, exactly. So you would be choosing to own nothing.
Yep.
We have, McKenna, you have more friends than I do, but we have friends that are missionaries. They really don't own a lot. They're very happy, and it can be a good life, but I don't want the government to tell me. All I want from the government is to just tell me what the rules are and get the hell out of the way.
Yeah. Make some good potholes, keep crime down, violent crime. What's the cost of an LLC in Puerto Rico?
$250.
Oh,
that's expensive.
Paying through the nose.
I think it's $99 in Florida.
That's what we spent this.
It's $125 now.
Yeah, because I think it's like you got to register the name and then register the company.
Okay. So it's twice as expensive on the island as Puerto Rico, but it's still insignificant. $250. Yeah. Most everybody can afford to do that.
Yeah. And it's very important to do, guys, because you don't want to get sued in your own name. Like it's just a big shift of who owns what, and it protects you for a very cheap amount of money. Into our last questions here before we go into final announcements. I like the idea Jerry mentioned the other day of having the property LLC and then selling the LLC. I think that's a great way to do a transfer, especially if you're trying to wholesale and do so in places that don't support it. That's an easy way to do it.
Yeah, you can you can get around due on sale, or not due on sale. You can get around
Capital
no
gain.
assignment clauses inside of contracts when you set it up so that the purchaser is an LLC, and then you just assign the LLC to someone else. In the States, we like to use land trusts for a similar reason, because the beneficiaries of the land trust are kind of hidden, and you can easily transfer who the beneficiary of a land trust is. So you can get around no non-assignment clauses in contracts.
Yeah. All right, guys. Any final announcements?
We're gonna do what we said we're gonna do about the coffee thing this month coming up.
Well,
We're
McKenna's
thinking
gonna
of
have
twice.
a coffee tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.
Yeah, no,
right?
but that's a virtual meetup.
We'll
We're
do a
talking about a
live coffee
real meetup. Yes. So
in November.
we're trying to do it twice a month next month.
All right.
And then hopefully by next month we ironed out the bigger ticket of the bus tour, which is probably gonna happen next year.
Yeah, probably the first quarter of next year.
Because Robert's gonna leave us. He's gonna go to Dubai, check out new real estate, probably buy a palace over there.
Yeah. If I'm somewhere for 2 weeks, I'm looking at real estate, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Get an oil rig. I think that would be pretty sweet.
That would be even better. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
And remember, guys, the masterclass will be Wednesday, not Thursday.
Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. I'm doing coffee in the morning tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. No technical difficulties this time, guys. It'll go off without a hitch. Look for a post in Apex about that. And the price is going up to $97 as well. So if you want to lock in, $79. I don't know if you guys have noticed. The more we add, we anticipate the price will continue to rise too, especially as we get Red Atlas and as we work on, in-person events, getting future funding through hard money partnerships. There's a lot in the future. So I would consider joining. I think everybody here is in Apex. So
it's amazing, the people who are doing things are also the ones who come every week, and it's a pretty big. We're 15,000 people in the couple of different communities we've got, right? Mm-hmm. And the ones that do everything show up every week, and so and you guys are the ones we want to be in business with, right? Like, so we're believing that this stuff is working and that we're going to do more partnerships together, and you guys will partner with each other. I mean, Aaron is talking about doing his own kind of master classes inside of the community. That kind of stuff, that's incredible. That's what we want to see. We're not just here to invite you to partner with us. We're here to facilitate more real estate transactions being done and networking with each other and doing deals together. It's a great life, guys. I say this a lot. This real estate investing thing is a great life. So I'm just I'm excited. Thank you guys for staying with us on a Monday night and getting so diligent, showing up and hanging out with us. Don't forget to hit that like button for us and invite people to come next Monday.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
All right, guys. God bless.
Good night.